Hey everyone, welcome back to Roadside Coder and welcome to Firebase tutorial with React.js. So Firebase is a backend as a service created by Google. What does that mean? When we develop apps, whether they be web app, mobile app or any kind of app, the process of developing an efficient backend, managing database, providing authentication, whether it be email or Google or any sort of authentication, gets a lot tricky and is time consuming. So this is where Firebase comes in. It provides us all these features in its SDK, which is super easy to understand and work with, and can save you a ton of time and resources. Therefore, in this video, we are going to build the backend for this crypto tracking app with features like authentication with email and Google, features to add and remove coins to Watchlist, and much more. So without any further ado, let's get started. So the app on which we are going to integrate Firebase on is this particular app, Crypto Hunter. So if you don't know about this app, this is the project that we built in our previous video. So you can go and watch that tutorial, or you can go to github.com/piyush-eon, go to repositories, search crypto over here, and yep, you'll find this repository. I'll provide link in the description as well. So here you're gonna see two branches. One is the master branch and other is the Firebase integration. So the master branch is the one that I built in the previous video. So you can go ahead and clone this repository by copying this line and running git clone and this particular link. And the code for this video is gonna be inside of this Firebase-integration branch. So here it is. I've cloned that particular branch in our VS Code. So you see all of the code is over here. Now you can run npm install to install all of the dependencies. Now let me give you a quick overview of this app. So inside of the app.js, we have two pages. One is the home page and other is the coin page. So if I go to the app, yep, this is the home page. And if you click on any of the coin, this is the coin page. Now in our home page, we have two components. One is this banner component and other is this table component. So if you go inside of the home page, we can see a banner component and a table component, a coins table component. And in our other page, that is the coins page, we have all of the code related to our coins. So to integrate Firebase, what we have to work with is this one. So inside of the app.js, we have this header component, that is this component right here. Inside of this header component, we're gonna add a login button. So header component is located right over here. So here we're gonna add the functionality for user authentication. And inside of the coin page, we're gonna add a button over here to add it to the wish list or the watch list. Okay, so first of all, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a few changes in our project, and that is I'm gonna go inside of coins table, that is this component, and from here I'm gonna take both of these states, coins and loading state, and I'm gonna move it to the crypto context, just like this. And now I'm gonna send this coins and loading to our app. So comma coins comma loading. Cool. Now these coins and loading will be accessible in whole of our app. Now let me go back to the coins table. So now that these both are removed from over here, let me remove them, and I'm gonna take out both of them from crypto state. So comma coins comma loading. Also, we're gonna take this function, the fetch coins function, take it and add it to our crypto context right over here. Import the Axios and the coin list. Now if you're unable to understand what I'm doing over here, so I would highly recommend you to go and watch that previous video of that project tutorial, or you can click on the timestamps below and you can skip to the part where I start doing the authentication in our app. Now I'm gonna take this fetch coins and send it to our app, just like that, and receive this fetch coins right over here, just like this. And I believe everything should be fine now. Let's run our app by typing npm start. Oh, here it is. Our app has started. Let's see if everything is working fine or not. Yep, looks good to me. All right, now I'm gonna open a new tab and I'm gonna search Firebase over here. And let's go to firebase.google.com. And you can see I'm already logged in with my account. So let's click on get started. And let's get started with Firebase. And now it's gonna ask us to add a new project or create a new project. Okay, let's go and create a new project. I'm gonna name my project Crypto Hunter. And I accept Firebase terms and continue. Okay, we don't need Google Analytics for this project, so I'm gonna disable it and create project. Now it's gonna take a few seconds to create your project, so let's wait. Awesome, our project is ready. Let's continue. Here we are inside the console of our project. So let's click on this web. Since we are creating a web app, so let's click on this web button. And now it's gonna ask us to register an app. So our app name was Crypto Hunter. And let's register an app. Cool, now it's asking us to install the Firebase into our project. Okay, let's copy this line, npm install Firebase, copy, and let's go to our VS Code and I'm gonna install it. So open a new terminal and paste it, npm install Firebase, press enter. Okay, meanwhile this is starting, let's configure our Firebase. So after this, it has provided us with this Firebase config. Okay, let's copy this up and go back to our VS Code. Inside of this config folder, I'm gonna create a new file for Firebase config.js. Alright, and inside of this, I'm gonna paste it. Now let's export this so that we can use it somewhere. Export default Firebase config. Now you might be thinking, why are we putting all of this sensitive information inside of this file right here? Shouldn't we use .env? Don't worry, it's completely fine to put all of this inside of our project because we can add the security rules in the Firebase console. But still, if you want the complete security, I would highly recommend you to put all of this code inside of a .env file. Now, if you don't know how to do this, you can go ahead and watch this video. Link will be in the description. So our Firebase has finished installing. Let's close this terminal. All right, let's go back to our Firebase console and let's click on continue to the console. And here we are. So let's configure our authentication first. So let's click on authentication. Get started. And what are all the authentication that we're gonna have? We're gonna have email and password authentication. So let's enable this. Save. And we're going to have the Google authentication. So add new provider, Google, enable. And project public facing name, and let's select an email ID, okay, and save this. All right, so we have configured our authentication. Let's go back to our VS Code and start integrating Firebase. So inside of src, I'm gonna create a new file called firebase.js. And inside of this firebase.js file, I'm gonna initialize a new Firebase app. So I'm gonna say const Firebase app equals initialize app. And inside of this, we're gonna provide that Firebase config that we had created earlier. Yep, you can see it has been imported from this file. And also we need to import this initialize app. So this will be imported from Firebase itself. So import from Firebase/app. And if we go on over here and press Control space, you can see it gives the suggestion, and if we click on it, we have this initialize app auto imported. Let's save this. Alright, so this is the variable that is gonna act as an entry point between our project and Firebase. So we're gonna use this variable to initialize our auth and our database. So for our auth, we're gonna write const auth equals get auth, and we're gonna add Firebase app inside of it. Now get auth will be imported from Firebase/auth. Now, if you're coming from a previous version of Firebase, like Firebase 8, you might be confused because in the previous version, we used to import Firebase like this. So import asterisk as Firebase from something like this. Okay, so we used to import whole of the library at once, but this is not how it works in Firebase version 9. Firebase version 9 has modularized whole of the Firebase so that it takes the less space and makes our app a lot faster. So we're gonna import every single module separately. So import get auth from Firebase/auth, just like this. And similarly, if we need to import the database, so import db equals get Firestore. Now don't worry about this Firestore thing. I'm gonna come back to this later. But for now, for configuring, I'm gonna import it. So import get Firestore from Firebase/Firestore. Awesome. Now let's export both of these things. So export auth comma db, and we are done with initial configuration of Firebase with React. So let's go on now and set up the authentication inside of our app. For that, I'm gonna go inside of the crypto context, our context API, and create a new state over here for users. So use state user, and initially it's gonna be null. Now let it sit there for a sec, and let's go on and build our UI for our login and sign up. So for building our UI, let me go back to our app. So here, right here, we're gonna have a login button. So if I go to our deployed website, yep, you see we have this login button over here. Oops, I'm logged in. Let's log out. Yep, we have this login button over here, after clicking which we have this beautiful modal with login and sign up, or we can sign in with Google. So to create this modal, let's go to v4.mui.com, Material UI version 4, and click on get started. And let's search modal over here. Yep, this modal. If we click on open modal, yep, this is the one that we need. So we're gonna use this modal to create that component. Alright, so inside of our VS Code, inside of the components, we're gonna create a new folder for authentication. Authentication, cool. And inside of this, I'm gonna create a new file called authmodal.js, RAFCE, and let's say login for now. And I'm gonna import this auth model inside of our header. That is this file. So inside of the header, below this select, we're gonna add this particular auth model component. So let me import it. Yep, it must have been imported. Let's see. Yep, it has imported over here. Cool. Now let's go inside of this auth model, and let's see in this material UI documentation. And let's go to this code and take all of this code, I believe. Yep. Let's take all of this code and we're gonna work from there. So I'm gonna paste it over here and rename it to auth modal. Let's see in our app if it works or not. If we click on it, yep, it's working fine. Awesome. Let's make the changes now. Now instead of this button, I'm gonna have a button of my own. So let's remove this and add button. So this button will be imported from Material UI, and let's add login. This is gonna be variant of contained, and it's gonna have style of width 85, height 40, margin left 15, and some background color of goldish. So let's see. Yep, login button is right over here. I think we don't need this margin left, so let me remove this. Yep, that looks better. Now we're gonna add the on click, just like it was added previously in this button. So on click was this one, handle open. When this gets triggered, it's gonna open the modal. So the code for the modal is written right over here. So inside of this, we're gonna work on our login modal. So for now, let's test it out. Yep, it's working fine. Now inside of this, we're gonna remove everything inside of this div, and we're gonna add two tabs over here, just like you see in our app. In our final app, if you click on login, you see these two tabs are over here. So if you go to the Material UI documentation, if we search tabs, yep, we have this tab bar component. So we're gonna use this. So how do we use it? We have this parent component of app bar. Inside of it, we add this component for tabs, which will display all of these tabs. And below this, in each of this tab panel, we're gonna display all of the content for, let's say, login or sign up. In this case, it's item 1, item 2, etc. So let's go back, click on login, and I'm gonna start adding stuff inside of it. So first thing was app bar. So inside of this app bar, first of all, this app bar is gonna have the position of static and some style of background color transparent and color of white. And inside this app bar, we're gonna have two tabs. Tab 1 will be for login and tab 2 will be for sign up. So let me import all of this. Yep. And for this value and on change, let me go back to the documentation. So if we click on this whole code, you can see, yep, on change is gonna trigger this handle change, which is this one. And for the value, it's gonna be this thing. So I'm gonna take whole of this stuff and paste it right over here. Value, and for handle change for changing the tab. So now I don't think it should throw any error. Yep, it's fine. Let's go to our app and see. Yep, login and sign up both are over here. Cool. Okay, we have this weird padding over here. Let's see what's causing this. So if we go to the styles, I'm going to configure it. So instead of these styles, I'm going to add my own styles for the paper. So paper is this thing, the div inside of the modal. Okay, so I'm going to add these styles with 400 background color of theme.palette.background color, which was already there, color white, and border radius of 10. Now let's check. Yep, it looks better. Now below this, how do we render both of the tabs? So if we go back to the documentation, so it has this tab panel component. We can either use this or we can use the conditional rendering. So if we click on any of these tabs, so it changes the value, right? So let me show you. If we log value, and if I change this, yep, you see 1, and if I click on this, it's going to display 0. So if the value is 0, we're going to display content related to the login, and if it's 1, we're going to display it related to the sign up. Cool. Below the app bar, I'm going to add 2 conditions. So if value equals to 0, then it's going to display a login component. Otherwise, it's going to display a sign up component. And value has to be 1. So now obviously both of these component doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to go ahead and create both of these components. So inside of the authentication, I'm going to create a new file for login.js and signup.js. So inside of login, RAFCE. And yeah, if you don't know what this RAFCE is, I've installed an extension which allows me to do this, which is this extension, ES7 React Redux GraphQL blah blah blah. So you can install that extension and make use of this stuff. So I'm going to write login inside of this for now. And inside of this sign up, RAFCE, enter, sign up, yep. And let's import both of these inside of over here. Okay, I think I have to manually import it. Import login from ./login, and similarly we're gonna import sign up just like this. Let's check if it's working. If you click on login, yep, login and sign up both are over here. Also from inside of this login, we're gonna, after we have clicked on login, we need to close this modal, right? So we're gonna take this function handle close and send it to both of these components so that whenever we need it, we have the access to this. So handle close, yep. Let's go inside of the login and provide it in the props and to the sign up as well. Alright, so now let's go on and build our sign up component first. So inside of sign up, we're gonna have 3 states. So I'm gonna add the state for email, import use state as well. Yep. Another state is going to be for the password. Let's keep the P capital. And the third one will be for confirm password. Awesome. Now inside of the return, we are going to have something called box from Material UI, which acts just like a div, but it has a few extra functionality, like we can provide the padding. So we're going to provide it padding of 3, and we're going to provide some style of display flex direction column, so that everything appears from top to bottom. Now inside this box, we're going to add a few text field for our email, password, and confirm password. So over here, we're going to add this text field. Let's import it. Yep, it's imported. So text field is going to have variant outline, type's going to be email, label, enter email, label is like a placeholder or something, and value is going to be email, which is our state, and on change, we're going to change our state, and obviously it's going to be of full width. So let's go and check it out. Inside of the sign up, yep, we have our enter email. Similarly, we're gonna have for our password and our confirm password as well. So below this, I'm gonna add that code. Yep, this is the one for password and this one for confirm password. Let's check it out. Awesome, looks good. Yep, so now we need a button which says sign up, similar to this sign up button. So let's go to React, and below this, I'm gonna add this button. Let's import it first. Yep, it's imported. So variant is gonna be contained, size is gonna be large, style some background color of goldish background color, and it's gonna on click, it's gonna have an handle submit button. So I haven't created this handle submit function. Let me create it real quick. Const handle submit. Let's keep it empty for now. Cool, let's go and check it out. Yep, that looks beautiful. This is what I wanted. Now let's go and create the UI for login as well. So for login, I'm gonna remove this up. And first we need the states. I forgot. So I'm gonna create the states over here, which is just going to be email and password. And let's import the user state, just like this. And inside the return, just like we did previously, we're just gonna copy that up. So box. So all that we need is already inside of over here. But what we don't need is this confirm password. So let's remove that and import all of these components from Material UI. And box. Also, we're gonna have a handle submit, const handle submit, empty for now. Cool, I think this looks good. Let's go back and check it out. Inside of login, yep, it looks awesome. Now let's go back to our sign up, and I'm gonna create the sign up functionality from Firebase first. So inside of this handle submit, I'm gonna first check if both of the password match or not. So if password is not equal to confirm password, then we're gonna show it an error, and we're gonna show it in the form of an alert. So let's create a custom alert component for us. So if we go to Material UI and search snack bar. So we have this snack bar. If you click on this open snack bar, yep, you see it displays this toast-like thing as a notification. So we're gonna need this in our app. So let's see how we can do this. We need to have a button, okay, on clicking which we have this snack bar component, which is gonna display us the appropriate message. And okay, we have these severities like error warning, which will display these colors accordingly. Awesome, let's go ahead and implement this. So first of all, I'm gonna go inside of our crypto context, and I'm gonna create a state for our alert. So use state, and I'm gonna name it alert. And our alert state is gonna have a few things. First of all, if it's open or not. So open, obviously it's gonna be by default false. And message, what's the message inside of this alert? So by default it's gonna be empty. And the third thing is gonna be the type. If it's success, if it's error, stuff like that. And we're gonna send both of these to our app. So, comma, alert and set alert, just like this. Let's close this. And inside of our components, I'm gonna create a new file for alert.js. And inside of here, our AFCE, I'm gonna add the code for it. So first of all, let's import the alert context that we had created. So const crypto state, we need alert and set alert. Below this, instead of this div, we're gonna have a snack bar. And inside of this snack bar, we're gonna have a few things. So let's go back to the documentation. That will be easier for us. So if we see the whole code, we have this handle click to open it up, and we have this handle close. Okay, let's take this handle close. Also, we need this state. Let's take this whole thing. Okay, let's save this. I don't think we need this because the open state is already inside of this alert state. So let me remove this. And also remove this hand click for now. We're gonna use that whenever we want to open our snack bar. So instead of this, I'm gonna now add set alert. So whenever we want to close the alert, so set alert and open is gonna be false. Cool. Now inside of this snack bar, first of all, snack bar has a few props which it takes. So let's see. It has open, auto hide duration, and an on close. Okay, let's take all of this stuff and paste it over here. So open, what the open is going to be, alert.open. Auto hide duration, it's a little bit too much, so I'm going to add 3 seconds instead of 6 seconds. And on close, handle close, yep, fine, that's fine. Now inside of this snack bar, I'm going to add the MUI alert component. So MUI alert, it's not getting auto imported. Weird. Let me import it manually. Import MUI alert from Material UI. So it's going to be coming from Material UI / lab, as I explained it in our previous video. That Material UI lab is a separate entity inside of Material UI. Cool. Now inside this Material UI alert, it's going to have a few things called on close, elevation, variant, that it's going to be filled or not, severity is going to be alert.type, which we already defined it inside of our alert in the context. Also, what is going to display? It's going to display the message. So alert.message. Awesome. So we're done with the setup of our alert. Let's close this up and go back to our sign up. So if the passwords do not match, we're going to display this alert. First of all, we're going to take the set alert from crypto state. So let me import that. Crypto state. Yep, it's imported. So let's take this set alert, and set alert will be open to true, and message, it's going to have the message of passwords do not match. And the third thing is going to be type, which will be error. And after that, I'm going to return. Let's test it out. In the sign up, if we put some different passwords and click on sign up, weird, nothing happened. Let's see, what did we do wrong? Oh, wait a minute. I think we have to import this alert component inside of our app.js, which we haven't done. So inside of the app.js, below this div, I'm gonna import alert component. Oops, alert. Not from Material UI lab. Import alert from ./component/alert. Now this should work. Let's see. Yep, you can see password do not match, but let's test it again. If I put something else, sign up, yep, password do not match. Awesome. It's gonna display till 3 seconds and it's gonna go away. Cool, let's move forward with our sign up. Now we're going to display our try catch block over here. So inside of the first try, we're going to say, we're going to take create user with email and password from the Firebase SDK. So let me show you. So const result equals await. So since this we're using await, this function is going to be async. So await create user with email and password. So this is what is used to add the email and password authentication in Firebase. So what it takes is, it takes the auth which we created earlier. So auth, we're gonna import it from Firebase. So yep, you see we are importing from Firebase this particular file that we created earlier. So it's gonna take the auth and it's gonna take the email and password. So after we have the result, we're just gonna display an alert that welcome or login or something like that. So set alert, we're gonna say open true, message sign up successful, welcome result.user.email. So result has a bunch of things. Let me show you real quick. So if we go and log this result object, but first let me do one thing. Let me, after login, we need to close this modal, right? So we're gonna take this handle close and we're gonna call it over here so that the modal gets closed automatically. And if there's any error, we're gonna display the alert as usual. So here I'm gonna add the alert, open true message and whatever the message is, and type error and return it. Cool, let's go and check it out. So sign up, I'm gonna use this email ID. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna add a password. Let's click on sign up and you can see sign up successful, welcome my email ID. So if we go over here and you can see, yep, we have the result. Yeah, there it is, user credentials. So inside of this, we have this user, and inside of the user, we can see all of the details related to the user, like UID and email ID, if the email verified or not, and bunch of other stuff. So this is what the result variable provides us. So we're just going to take result.user.email. Awesome. So we have successfully created our authentication flow for sign up. Now let's go ahead and create it for login. So if we go to login, but wait, let me first test it out if the user is already there. So see, the user is already there. I'm gonna login, try to sign up with this user again, sign up. Yep, it gives us error. That email is already in use. Awesome. So you see how easy it is to create the sign up flow with the help of Firebase. Let's go and create the login flow now. So inside of our login, right over here, inside of the handle submit, we're gonna have the similar code. We're gonna first check if email and password are empty or not. So if they are empty, we're gonna throw the error, please fill all the fields. Also, we need to import this set alert. So const set alert from crypto state. Awesome. So now if we leave any of these fields empty, it's gonna display that please fill all the fields. Now for login, we're gonna have a similar function like this. So this was create user with email and password, and now we're gonna have function with sign in with email and password. Again, a try catch block. Inside of the catch, I'm just gonna write what we had written earlier. Open true, message error, message, type error, blah blah blah. And inside of the try, we're gonna have similar code. So const result equals await, and since it's await, this function is gonna be async. So await sign in with email and password. Yep. Now you see this thing will be imported from Firebase /auth. So this also takes the auth that we had provided earlier, the email and the password, and this also results this also returns us with the similar type of object that we had seen earlier. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna copy this up, paste it over here. Instead of sign up, I'm gonna say login successful, welcome particular user. Okay, let's go ahead and log in. So this was the email ID that I used, and let me enter my password and click on sign. Okay, this sign up. Oh, my bad. I need to add the login. Oops, something happened. Yeah, login successful. Okay, but let me just first change this sign up to login. Yep. So if we enter the wrong password and try to login, yeah, you see, wrong password. It gives us the error. This works flawlessly. Now every time user logs in or signs up, we need to have a state, right, which contains all of the user data, which we already have created inside of this, inside the crypto context called user, but we are not yet using it. So let's use it now. So how will we know that user has logged in or signed up? So below this, I'm gonna add a function. Actually, I'm gonna add a use effect, and inside of this, I'm gonna add all of the code. So let's remove this, and I hope use effect is imported. Yep. Inside this, I'm gonna add onAuthStateChanged. So it's gonna monitor the state of our authentication of our Firebase app. So it takes the auth, which was provided by this file firebase.js. Okay, it takes this auth, and then it's gonna give us a callback. So user. And this will contain the detail of the user, if the user is logged in or not. So if user is there, then we're gonna set the user simply. Set user to user. Else we're gonna set user to null. Simple. Cool. Now let's take this user and provide it to our context. So user looks good. Now if I go to our header, and I'm gonna take the user from over here, from our context user. So I'm gonna check over here where this auth model is located. User is there, then display something else. Let's say logout. Okay, else we're gonna display this thing. Cool. Let's test it out. Okay, logout is there because user is already logged in. If I refresh this app, yep, user is logged in already. That's why this is over here. Okay, then now instead of this logout, I'm gonna display a user sidebar just like we have in our app. So if we go on and sign up, if we go on and sign in with Google, we have this user sidebar over here, right? So let's implement this functionality because this will have our logout button. And after this, we're gonna go ahead and implement the Google login functionality. Okay, let's go to our app. and instead of this I'm gonna write user sidebar. And obviously this component doesn't exist yet, so I'm gonna go inside of our authentication and create a new file for user sidebar.js. RAFCE, just like this, and I'm gonna say sidebar. Import it over here just like this, and if we go now we can see the sidebar over here. Yep. So how do we create this sidebar? So if we go to Material UI's documentation, we have a component called drawer. So this drawer will enable us to add this component. So if you click on, let's say right, it's gonna display it from right, left, from left, top, bottom, etc. So we're gonna use this. So let's see the whole code. And I'm gonna take whole of this code from over here, which we are going to use it in our app, and add it to this user sidebar file. And I'm gonna rename this temporary drawer to user sidebar. Awesome. Now if we go to our app, what is this? Okay, Material UI icons, obviously this is not installed. So okay, we're gonna have to make a few changes in this file before using this, which includes removing whole of this list function. Let me remove this from here as well. I'm just gonna say hello for now. Okay, and we have a lot of top, left, bottom, right. We only need the right one, so let's remove this and all of this. We only need the right. Let's check now. Okay, we need to remove all of these imports. Let's see if it's displaying something. Yeah, if you click on right, yeah, we have this tiny little sidebar. We're gonna fix this now. Now instead of this button, I'm gonna display something of my own. I'm gonna display my own button, which is gonna be this avatar. If you noticed, this avatar, the profile picture of the user. So I'm gonna display this. So for that, I'm gonna need the user from the context. So const user equals crypto state, and we're gonna use this. So we're gonna import something called avatar from Material UI. So avatar takes a few things. First of all, it's gonna be a button, so it's gonna take an on click. So on click is gonna be the toggle drawer, which was already there. So if we go back, yep, this toggle drawer, I'm gonna take this on click, and let's move forward. Yep, instead of this, I'm gonna display that on click. Cool, let's import this avatar first of all. Yep, avatar imported. Now, accept this. We're gonna have a few styles for this avatar, such as height, width, some generic styles, some background color, some cursor. I think background color is not necessary. So, yep, that's all. And apart from this, we're gonna have a source. So our user object contains something called user.photo URL. Okay, and we're gonna have the alt for this since it's an image. So we're gonna have user.displayName as an image. So if the user has a display name, it's gonna display display name's first letter. Otherwise, it's gonna display user.email's first letter. So let's check it out. Yep, you see, I think I didn't have any profile picture, obviously, because we logged in with the email and password, but since we have logged in with Google in this one, so we have this profile picture. Cool, so this looks good, I guess. And I think I don't need this margin left here. Let's remove this. Yeah, cool. Now inside of this drawer, I'm gonna have a div, which will have a class name of classes dot container. And this container is gonna have few styles. Let me add those. First of all, let me remove both of these styles. And container is gonna have the following styles: width of 350 and padding 25, height of 100% from top to bottom, display flex direction of column, so that all of the stuff will be displayed in the from top to bottom, and some font family of monospace. Let's save this and check it out. If you click on this, yep, we have a sidebar with width of 350. Now below this, I'm gonna have another div which will be for displaying the profile picture of the user. So div, and similarly like we did with the avatar earlier, we're gonna have an avatar inside of this. So I'm gonna display an avatar inside of this with class name of classes.picture. Also this div is gonna have a class name, classes.profile, and below this I'm gonna display the user's email or display name. If the display name is there, it's gonna display the display name, or it's gonna display the email ID, and some generic styles like width, font size, text align, font weight, and word wrap. Okay, let's save this. First let me add these styles for the profile, but let's just have a look. How does this look? It doesn't look very good, so I'm gonna add these styles for this one and this one as well. So let's go up. I'm gonna add this style for profile. Let's see how does that look. Okay, I need to add the style for picture as well. Don't worry, I'm gonna explain this. So it's gonna be flex 1, and because so that it takes whole of the space available to it. Display is gonna be flex. Flex direction is gonna be column because we're displaying everything from top to bottom. Yep, you see it's beginning to take shape. Some align item of center to display it in the center, and some gap between all of this stuff. So this profile is going to be the first container, and the other container is going to be for the logout button. Okay, so we'll make the logout button in a second. And for the picture, we're just going to display it with some width, height, and some cursor pointer, some background color, and object fit contain. Now below this, let's just first create our logout button. So below this div, I'm gonna have this button right over here, which is already imported, I guess. And on click, it's gonna trigger a function called logout, which doesn't exist yet. So I'm gonna create it. Const logout. Yep. Now this shouldn't give any error. Let's go back, and yeah, we see the logout over here. And let's add the styles for logout. Since we have added, we have added this class logout. Let's add the styles for it. So this is gonna be simple. We're just gonna have some height and width, some background of golden-ish color, some margin top, just like this. Cool. Now in this particular space, we're gonna display our wish list or watch list coins. So you see, watch list. So let's add the container for now. Then we're gonna add the functionality later. So below this, I'm gonna add another div with the class name of classes dot watchlist, and inside of this I'm gonna have a title of watchlist with font size 15 and text shadows, just like this. So let me add the container. Let me add the styles for this watchlist, which is gonna be this, some flex 1, some width of 100%, background is gonna be gray, some border radius of 10, some padding, display flex, and some gap. And we're gonna have a scroll inside of it. So let's see how that look. Yep, that looks awesome. Looks exactly like it. Great, let's create the functionality for logout now. So if we go to our logout function, which was, over here, we're gonna use something called sign out from Firebase. So if we write sign out, you see it's displaying the auto import from Firebase auth. So if you see, it has auto imported, and this takes the auth that we already created. Now after this has run, we're gonna display the alert. So we're gonna take the set alert from our context. So I think I need to create it inside of here, inside of our function. So I'm gonna take the set alert, and now below this I'm gonna display the alert and close the drawer as well. Set alert, open true, type success, logout successful, and below this we're gonna have this toggle drawer, which was already made over here. Okay, I think we need to make this below this. That's fine. Let's test it out now. If you click on this and click on logout, logout successful, and we have the login back over here. Awesome, that works absolutely fine. Now's the moment that you all been waiting for. Yes, the Google sign up. So let's go on and add the functionality for it. So I'm gonna go back to my auth model. Let me close everything. And inside of the components, authentication, auth model.js. Below this, I'm gonna add a box. Import it from material UI. And this box is gonna have some class names. Class name, I mean, classes dot Google. And inside this, I'm gonna say span, and it's gonna have or. And below this, I'm gonna display the sign up button for Google. So for instead of creating our own sign in with Google button, I'm gonna use a library which is called React Google button, which displays the sign in with Google button with all of the styles pre-built. So I'm gonna go ahead and install it. So npm install React Google button. Now let's restart our app, npm start, and below this I'm gonna display the Google button. So I'm gonna add it. So let me import it. Yeah, let's check. Yeah, Google button from React Google button. Awesome. And when we click on this, we're gonna call this function sign in with Google. So let me create this function as well. I remove this. Cool. Let's wait for our app to start and see how that button looks. Now if you click on login, yep, you see sign in with Google, but it's getting out of this div right here. So I'm gonna add a few styles to it. So I'm gonna add styles to classes.google. If we go up right over here, below this, I'm gonna add styles for Google. So padding is gonna be 24, padding top, some display flex direction column, and some gap in between those. So let's check it out. Yep, it looks beautiful. Now it's not gonna work obviously right now, so we need to add the functionality to it. So to add the sign in with Google functionality, let's go over here. We need something called Google Auth Provider. So const Google Provider, and it's gonna come from, so new Google Auth Provider. Yep, you see this comes from Firebase /auth. Now we're gonna make use of this variable right here. Yeah, we're gonna make use of this variable. So inside of this, if we go inside of this function, we're gonna say sign in with pop-up. So that it displays a pop-up. So auth, it's gonna just take the auth function, which we always provide this auth, and the Google provider, which we created right here, right over here. Now dot, then whatever result that we get from the login process, so result, we're gonna display the alert. So if it was a positive result, we're gonna say set alert and sign up successful and welcome user, and we're gonna close the modal. So let me import this set alert first of all. Okay, I'm gonna import it here, const. Yep, set alert. Else we're gonna display a catch block. Dot catch error. We're gonna display set alert, open true, message, error dot message, type error. Okay, crypto state is not defined. Let me import it. Yep, now it's imported. Let's go ahead and try to log in now. Let's click on login and sign in with Google. Yep, we see this pop up. Click on an ID. And awesome, we have successfully logged in. Yep, you can see the profile picture with the name and everything. Awesome. This looks great. So we're done with the authentication process. Now let's move on to our database, to our Firebase Firestore database, inside of which we're gonna store all of our watchlist coins right over here. And we're gonna add a button inside of this single coin page called add to watchlist or something like that. Let me see. Yep, we're gonna add this button as to add to watch list, and when we click on this, it's gonna turn red, and if we go here, it's gonna display all of our coins. So if you have successfully followed the video till here and created your own authentication flow with Firebase, hit a like on this video, because this really helps the YouTube algorithm to make this video reach to a much larger public, and also subscribe to the channel for more such awesome tutorial. Okay, so let's continue. Let's go back to our Firebase console and click on this Firestore database. And here you see real-time updates, powerful queries, and automatic scaling. So this is the Cloud Firestore database. Let's click on create database. and it's gonna ask us to start in production mode or start in test mode. We're gonna start in test mode right now. And it says that if the time is, so it's gonna give us 30 days to switch back to our production mode. So we're gonna remove this. We don't want the 30 days delay because this is just a test app. We want it to be working always. So just click on the test mode and click on next. And it says that we need to select a server. So I'm gonna let it be the default one and click on enable. Alright, so we are successfully inside of our Cloud Firestore. Here you see this is our database. We can add a collection and this will contain all of our data inside of over here. We're gonna come back to this later, but let's go to this rules over here. So what is this rules? So this rules tells us who can access our database and how they can access our database. So for example, in our app, what we want is whenever someone is logged in, only then he can add his coin to the watch list, or it can delete the coin from the watch list, etc, etc. So this is what we want in our app. So what are we gonna write over here? So first of all, we're gonna remove this line. So we don't want the database to stop working after 30 days. So now what does this means? So this means that for any endpoint, user can read or write. If it's true or false, we can add true. So yep, it's gonna be true. A user can read and write. If we add it false over here, user cannot read or write to any of the endpoint. So this might be a little bit confusion. Let me explain it properly. So if I remove this, and now inside of this, it says inside of our documents, we're gonna add a API endpoint. So our API endpoint is gonna be called Watchlist. So I'm gonna say match / watchlist / user ID. We're gonna store all of the coins related to a particular user inside of their user ID. Okay. So now inside of this, we're gonna add the check. Allow read only when. So allow read if, what happens if request dot auth dot uid, don't worry, I'm going to explain this in a minute, equals to user ID. So what does this means? So this request is the object that we send from our front end or we send to the back end when we try to access the Firestore. So what are all the things that are inside of this request? So let's go ahead and search on the Google. So request in Firestore. Let's see what do we get. So inside this request object, we have this auth, which contains our UID, UID of the requesting user, the token, and what else does it contains? It contains the method, if it gets, or list, or create, update, delete, and it contains bunch of other things like query, resource. But what we need is, we need this thing. We need request.auth. We're gonna match it. If the current user who is trying to access the data matches the field in our database, only then we're gonna allow him to write it or read it. So currently I've just added read, so I'm just gonna add write as well. So here I'm gonna add write. You can also write like this, read comma write, doesn't really matter. So now we can test it out over here. So if we click on this rules playground, if we click on this, we can test it. So currently it's get. That means we're gonna read the data, right? So let's take this and paste it over here. So if we run this, you're gonna see, nope, it's not gonna allow us to read the data. But if we say the user is authenticated and run this, again, it's not gonna allow us because we haven't provided this UID. So let's go to our app and provide it the UID. So this was our app. Inside the crypto context, let me just go ahead and quickly just do a quick console log over here so that whenever we log in, we get the ID. Yep, we have this user, and inside of over here, inside of the auth, we must have something called UID. Yep, here it is, the UID. I'm gonna copy this up and I'm gonna go here and provide this UID. Oh, I need to remove this, and I'm gonna add this UID here as well. And now let's try to run this. You're gonna see, yep, simulated read allowed. And if we try to write it something, let's say create, run, you're gonna see it's allowed. But if we say let's say false, okay, now we try to run this, you're gonna see, yep, simulated write denied. So we're not allowed to write it over here. Now what if we have this logic multiple times, or if we have a much larger logic over here inside of the Firebase rules? We need to add it to some particular place so that we can use it again and again. So yeah, we can create a function for that. So below this, I'm gonna add a function which will check is logged in, and it's gonna take the user ID, and it's gonna simply return as true or false if the user is logged in or not. So I'm just gonna take this, add it over here, and instead of this, instead of writing this thing, I'm gonna say is logged in user ID. This should work fine, I guess. So let's go ahead and say get. Yep, it's working fine. Awesome. Let's publish this. Cool. So we have successfully created our Firebase rules over here. I would highly recommend you to go and read more about it right over here in database rules. So I'm gonna link to this article in the description below. You can go ahead and read more about it here. Cool. Let's close this up and go back to our app, and let's create the UI for adding all of this stuff to our watch list. So if you go inside of the particular coin, I'm gonna add a button over here. So let's go back to our code and let's close everything up. And inside of our pages, coin page, I'm gonna add over here. Let me close this up. So below this span, I'm gonna add that button. But before that, let me take that user info from our context. So comma user, we're gonna use that. So if the user is logged in, we only want then to display that button. So I'm gonna say user, and we're gonna add the button over here just like this. So now let me import this button from material UI. Yep, and this button is gonna have the styles that we already did. So yep, let's see. There we go. We have an add to watch list button right over here. Now when we click on it, we need to invoke a function for adding to watch list. So right over here, I'm gonna create a function. Let's say here const add to watch list, and inside of this, I'm gonna add the code for adding to our watch list. So we do something like this. Const, we're gonna take the first of all reference to our database to that particular table. So coinref equals doc. So this doc will be imported from Firebase Firestore, just like this. So doc, and what are we gonna have? We're gonna have our DB. So if you remember, we created this DB inside of this firebase.js. Yep, this DB. So we are importing this. We're gonna have DB, comma. First thing we're gonna have is watch list. So inside of here, if I show you, inside of the data, we're gonna have the watch list collection, and inside of this, we're gonna have a user ID, and inside of that, we're gonna add the data. So watch list, comma, user.uid. So we have the reference to our table over here. Now below this, we're gonna add a try catch. Also, this is gonna be an async function. Inside of this, I'm gonna say await set doc. So we're adding a doc, right? We're creating it. So set doc coin ref. We're gonna give this reference, and what are we gonna do? We're gonna have an array of coins inside of this. Inside of this user.uid, we're gonna have an array of coins. So coins colon watch list. If there's something inside of the watch list, okay, I haven't created this watch list yet, so I'm gonna create it just in just a second. If there's something inside of this watch list, then we're gonna take all of that watch list and we're gonna add a new coin. So coin dot id, which is the current coin. So this coin comes from right over here, this coin. So we're fetching a single coin, right? So we're gonna add this coin dot id. Otherwise, we're just gonna add, if there's nothing inside of the watch list, then obviously it's gonna have only one thing. So I'm just gonna add coin dot id over here. That's all. And let me first create this watch list state inside of our crypto context. So below this, use state watch list, and by default it's going to be empty. Now I'm going to send this watch list to our app, and receive it right here. So let me minimize this. Yep, right here. So yep, now it's gonna check if there's something inside of the watch list, then it's gonna add it, otherwise it's gonna add single coin. Cool. Now below this we're gonna display the notification that okay, we have added the coin. So set alert coin.name added to the watch list. Also we need this set alert. So comma set alert. Yep, this is added. Otherwise in the catch we're gonna display the notification that error. Now we're gonna create a variable to check if something is added in the watch list or not. So I've added this variable. So in watch list equals watchlist.include. So if the watch list already includes this coin, this is gonna be true. Otherwise this is gonna be false. So this is some for our UI stuff. So let me show you where I'm gonna use this. So over here, I'm gonna say if it's already inside of the watch list, then it's gonna display remove from watch list. From watch list. Otherwise it's going to display add to watch list. Okay, let's test it out, but first let me add the on click as well. So on click add to watch list. We go to Chrome. If we click on add to watch list, nothing seemed to. Okay, Bitcoin added to the watch list. Let's go to our database. Let's refresh this up. And we can see we have a collection called watchlist, a document of user ID, and a Bitcoin which is added to our watchlist. Awesome, this is working absolutely as we have planned. Now we need to display all of those coins inside of this watch list. Also we need to change this, but currently if we go to our context, we're not setting this watch list in any way, right? So how are we gonna set this? We're gonna use something called snapshot, which is given to us by Firestore. But before that, I forgot to add the responsive styles for this button. So if we make the screen smaller, yep, you see it's breaking the app. So let me add this responsive styles first, then we can continue. So inside of our use styles, right over here, I'm gonna add these styles and remove these XS and MD which were already there. Okay, so display flex, align item is gonna be center. And in the extra small, align item is going to be start. So if we go back now, yep, it looks fine. It looks better. Yep. This is what I wanted. Anyway, let's move forward. So inside of the crypto context, as I was saying, we are not setting this set watch list, right? So how are you going to do that? We're going to use something called snapshot from Firebase. For adding that logic, we're going to create another use effect. And inside of this, I'm gonna check if user is logged in or not. So also I'm gonna add the user to the dependencies so that this fires every time the user logs in or logs out. So if it's gonna check if user is logged in, okay, so it's gonna take the reference to the user, just like we did, reference to the database, just like we did over here. So coinref, import the doc and the DB. Yep, just like this, the DB and the doc. Okay, we have the coin reference. Now we're gonna check on snapshot. So on snapshot, check if our database is updated or not. So we're gonna check this particular database, if the database updated for this thing. So coinref, comma, coin. It's gonna take the coin and it's gonna check inside of this if coin.exists is a function to check if it exists or not. If it exists, it's gonna set the watch list. It's gonna set the watch list to coin.data.coins. So it has this data thing, has all of the data inside of this user.uid. You can console log over here. You can console log this thing and view what are all of the things inside of this. Else, we're gonna say no items in the watch list. So we don't want a lot of snapshots to be created. Like this is like an event which constantly monitors all of our watch list. So after a snapshot is done, we want to unsubscribe from it, right? So we're gonna say const unsubscribe. So it returns a function for unsubscribing. So after our component is unmounted. So we're gonna say return. And we're gonna call this unsubscribe inside of this. Okay, this should be var, I believe, so that this is accessible over there. Yep. so that it's not only block scoped. Cool. Oh, okay. So we need to add this inside of this block. So it's gonna check if user is already there, then it's gonna run it. Otherwise, it's not gonna run it. And right now our user is not logged in. That's why. So if we refresh, yeah, obviously. So now it's gonna work. So I believe this has populated our watch list. So you know what? I'm gonna go and console log this. Console log this whole thing. Let's see. Yep, we see this list over here with Bitcoin inside of it. Okay, so now we're gonna take this and we're gonna render it over there. Now if you go to single coin page, you're gonna notice that yep, it's displaying remove from watch list here. So now if you go back to the coin page, I need to add one more style over here. Background color. If it's in the watch list, it's gonna display the red color. That is FF0000. Just like this. Cool. Now if it's already in the watch list, I need to do one more thing. In, let me say, in watch list, if it's in the watch list, then it's gonna run, it's not gonna run this function, it's gonna run another function called remove from watch list. So remove from watch list, otherwise it's gonna run this function. So this doesn't exist yet, obviously. So let's go up, and below this I'm gonna create another function for this. Alright, so this function is gonna be similar to that function above. So I'm gonna copy that's everything inside of that and paste here. So only thing that's going to be changed is this line and this messages and all. So here what I'm gonna do is, instead of checking this, I'm gonna filter out that particular coin and add it to our database. So I'm gonna say wishlist.filter and watchlist is not equal to coin.id. So we're gonna return everything that is not equal to this particular coin ID. So now this is gonna remove that coin from the watch list. And we want to merge this with everything that is already there in the document. So we're gonna say merge to true. Yep, just like this. And then instead of this set alert, we're gonna say this coin removed from the watch list, and we're gonna have the same catch. Okay, let's test it out. If we click on this, yep, it's removed from the watch list. And if we go over here, we have an empty array. What's this? Find DOM node is deprecated. I think this is some material UI error, and I think we can ignore this error. Awesome. Now we need to display all of the coins inside of this watch list box. I'm gonna go back to my VS Code, and inside of this component, user sidebar. Okay, so we left this space for displaying all of the coins inside of over here. So we're gonna need our watch list variable, obviously. So I'm gonna take it from the coin state, watch list, and we're gonna use that to display all of the watch list coins. So you know what I'm gonna do over here is, I'm gonna take our coins state, which we already had in our context, and I'm gonna filter it out with respect to that. So coins, I'm gonna take the coins, and what I'm gonna do is coins.map, and we're gonna take single coin, and what we'll do inside of it, we're gonna check if watch list includes this coin. If watch list dot includes coin.id, if it includes this ID, then we're gonna return this thing, a div with the class name of classes.coin. Oops. And inside of this, I'm gonna have the span tag with coin name. So coin.name, because you know, inside of our wish list we only have the coin ID, but all of the details related to the coin are inside of this thing, the coins array, right? So that's why we're making the use of that. Now let's save this and have a look. How does this look? And if we go here, okay, there's nothing inside of the watch list. Now if we add some other coin, yep, we have Bitcoin, Binance coin. Yep. Now let's give these some further styles. We're gonna have a span tag, which will have some style of display flex and gap of 8 between all of this stuff. And inside of it, we're gonna have a symbol for displaying our price, basically. So symbol So symbol is going to come from our state, our context API. Let's see how's that looking. Yep, it's beginning to take shape. After this, we're going to display our price just like we already did in our previous video. With the help of number with commas, we're going to display all of the commas with the help of this, and coin.current price to fixed. If you haven't seen that video, I would say go and watch that. Yep, you see. And below this, we need to add a icon to delete this coin from the watch list. So I'm gonna go ahead and open a new terminal and install a library called React Icons. npm install react-icons, and we're gonna add an icon called AI field delete. So you can go on and Google search React-icons. There's nothing rocket science in this. You can understand this, how this library works. It has a bunch of icons, and I've imported this AI field delete icon. So if I go over here and say import AI field delete from React icons /AI. So this is what we need. And for now, I'm gonna comment out this on click, and let's see how does look right now. Yep, if you see, we have this delete icon, and we have the cursor pointer as a style. Okay, we need to add the styles to this coin first of all. So I'm gonna go up below our styles. I'm gonna add the coin style. So padding of 10, some border radius, some background of some goldish background, some box shadow, and some justify flex. Display flex and justify item space between. So if you see, yep, it looks awesome. Now let's add the functionality to click on this and remove this from our watch list. Close this, and here I'm gonna create the function for removing from our watch list, which will be same as we created right over here. So inside our coin page, we have this remove from watch list. I'm gonna copy it up. Let's go to user sidebar, and I'm gonna paste it. The only difference is we're just gonna take the coin from over there. So coin is gonna be received from over there. Oh, let me import all of this stuff. Set doc. Yeah, we're pretty much imported. So now we are going to send this coin from over here to this thing, and I think this should work. Let's try this out. Let me try to delete it. Yep, it's deleted, and Bitcoin removed from the watch list. Let's try to add another coin. Let's try to add this coin, Solana. Yep, Solana is added. Delete. Yep, it's deleted. Awesome, it's working absolutely fine. So guys, I guess this was it. So this was a Firebase crash course for you all. Now Firebase is a huge library. Firebase has a lot of things like real-time database storage, hosting, cloud functions, and a lot of things. So if you need me to create a much in-depth tutorial, I can do that, and I can create a full in-depth tutorial series for you all. So if you like this video, smash that thumbs up button down below and make it blue. And also subscribe to the channel for more such awesome tutorial, and don't forget to press the bell icon as well. Also, if you like to further support me, you can click on the join button down below. It really motivates me to make more such awesome tutorial. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.